Hello, everybody.
Welcome. Go ahead, Ren. Take it away.
So, I'm Ren, and this is the Apostates. And with me, I have Dallas, and I have Eric.
How are you?
So, the point of this podcast is basically it's a podcast about and for and people who are thinking about generally who are Republicans and feel very disaffected, or are former Republicans and have drifted far away. I see a lot on the internets and a lot of media about people who are on. There's sort of a why I left the left kind of thing with people like Dave Rubin or Tim Pool or now Tulsi Gabbard. And I guess Glenn Greenwald is another one of them. There's not really one in the opposite direction, and I think I consider myself basically a lapsed Republican. That's why we're calling ourselves the Apostates. So, we essentially both because one, Silence is probably my favorite Martin Scorsese movie, and it's a whole thing. If you haven't seen it, if you've seen it, you'll get it. But mostly, I feel like politics for very many people is sacrosanct and much like a religion. And for me, it was a way of life for a very long time. But before we get into our backgrounds, I really want to get into the postmortem of the midterm elections. And the first thing I want to say is that it's really easy if your first episode of a podcast is after an election and you can pretend you saw it coming. Yeah, you can pretend you saw it coming. I am willing to Yeah, I'm willing to say I did not see this coming. I did not see this coming. I really thought it was going to be around.
I live in Hell World, so in my case, I 100% saw it coming.
Hell World being Florida.
Hell World being Florida. I wanted to believe. I wanted to at least believe in Val. I wanted to believe that Val could pull it out, but that is not what happened.
Val Demings, she didn't have much. She was basically a former police officer, very much. Yeah, that's very much a lot of the types that Democrats like to run against solid Republicans. They basically want to run someone who can appeal to other Republicans. But when Republicans have Republicans, why are they going to vote for someone who's Republican light?
And why are they going to vote for a black woman? I said it. Let's just address the elephant in the room. I'm from South Florida. I attended high school in Marco Rubio's backyard. My high school was literally about 2.5 miles from from Coral Park Senior High. We used to go to the same church. I've met the man. And like a lot of Cubans, they talk a good game about pretending to get along with black people. And when they talk about getting along with black people, they mean people from the islands, people like my people. When they're talking about people who are black people from the United States, that's a damn lie. They're not here for it. So Val Demings had no shot.
Yeah.
No shot.
Well, we want to talk about no shot. Let's talk about Chris. Or I should say, let's not talk about him. I didn't even know who the hell was running against DeSantis until maybe a month after those primaries.
We don't. I remember when in my old ancient days knowing that the Republican Party had a deep bench. The Democratic Party in Florida does not have a deep bench. Who the hell
do they have any bench?
Huh?
They don't have any bench.
Yeah. Who the hell do we fucking have? Anna Eskamani. Anna Eskamani is not letting go of her district in Central Florida. They love her too much. And God love her, she is too fucking effective.
Oh,
she's too fucking... Anna Eskamani is too fucking effective. I said what I said. She's too fucking effective in her district. She's a rock star. She gets shit done.
There is a curse to being competent in a certain way, and people do not want you to move from where you are doing a great job.
She is going to be in that district. I hate to say it. She's going to be in that district till Ahura Mazda takes her home.
Which is going to be pretty useless because, as we mentioned, the Democrats have basically pulled out of Florida and abandoned it.
And it's a shame. And it's a shame because we really had a shot, especially in Miami. We really did. But because of the fact that we don't discuss the politics of the people that we brought into the country, we don't talk about the fact that there's a streak of anti-Blackness in Latin America, the streak of social conservatism, the fact that anytime somebody talks about making sure the indigenous have anything or anybody who isn't landed and white presenting and Catholic, fucked. No one wants to have that conversation.
And there's no amount of good showing that any individual candidate can do if they're not going to have support of the major party. Because as much as Chris doesn't have much of a personality as all, his debate performance, he had some pretty solid shots against DeSantis.
Yeah, I actually thought he landed them, and I have a feeling that if the Trump team is smart, I don't know, and unfortunately he has burned so many fucking bridges, he's going to have just random brawlers. Like he's going to have he's going to have a bunch of Proud Boys with a flip phone, basically.
Who do you think Trump's VP is going to be?
Bruh. Because I get moist over a regionally balanced ticket. I will not be shocked if it's Carrie Lake. I will not be shocked. Carrie Lake, Sarah Palin. I am thinking of the Karenist of Karen white or white presenting female Republicans.
There's a policy wonk pun there. I'm not going to go there, but so with Florida basically off the table as far as competitive, let's move on to Pennsylvania and talk about a competitive race. At least as far as
lucky fucks.
At least as far as senators go, it wasn't competitive for the
you
governor.
Lucky fucks.
It was lucky.
I love it.
Those polls.
Fetterman, I admit it, because most of the people I followed from PA are like Black Pennsylvania, so they were more Connor Lamb. But damn it, once Fetterman got it, they just said, fine. They just said, fine, we will drag this man across the finish line. We will shut the fuck up and drag him across the finish line if we have to.
You know, what I think is funny, and Eric and I will know this very well, is Fetterman may be from Western Pennsylvania. He may be from the Allegheny County area.
Sure. That might be what his birth certificate says.
That man is a Delco man.
Oh, yeah.
Through and through.
All I know is that he looks how I imagine Gritty would look like if you shaved him.
Yes, he is the living embodiment of Gritty.
If you shave Gritty, it's John Fetterman under all that hair.
Yeah. I don't even. What are your policy positions? Chaos.
Basically, I'm sorry.
That's mine. That's mine.
I like too. Gritty. I like Gritty. Mm-hmm. I'm a fan, mostly because I watched a group of rabbis immediately have a literal conversation about where Gritty fits into Jewish culture. There are symposiums on whether Gritty comes under Golem. They had symposiums.
Is that? I
don't even know what to say.
I need a link. You're going to have to give me a link for those.
I'll find it. No, I got you. It was a thing. It was a thing on Twitter. I saw it. I was like, okay, I guess this is a thing. I want to know more.
So I think what did Dr. Oz in the end, I mean, Fetterman had such great messaging at the beginning and casting Oz so far along the outside. But I think what did Oz in was Oz. Yeah. That man had no ability to connect with human beings on a human level in any way whatsoever. He was basically a bug in an Edgar suit.
trimmed Edgar's suit, but I mean, the moment, let's put it like this. I have only been in Pennsylvania for what? All of maybe 10 days?
It's about the amount of time I've been in Florida.
Yeah. I have only been in Pennsylvania for about 10. I've only stayed there 10 days. But I know one thing. If you use your competitor's old ad where he references Mean Joe Green and that you talk about and you say, no one understands this ad, you are not going to win in no goddamn Pennsylvania. You're not.
Pennsylvanians are very tribal and very protective. And I know that's easy to say because a lot of people's states are very tribal and protective of themselves. A lot of people have pride in their states. But, dude, you have no idea. If you are not a Pennsylvania, like, no offense, but Iowans are not into Iowa like Pennsylvanians are into Pennsylvania.
Iowans only care about Iowa once every 4 years. That's the only time Iowans care about Iowa. And even then, it's like for like 3 weeks in the coldest bumfuck parts of the year, they're like, woo, we're from Iowa.
But even states that have famous amounts of pride, like Indiana, like, famous.
Why would you be proud to be from Indiana?
Sports. Look, the point is, Pennsylvanians are fiercely Pennsylvanian.
Yeah, I'm terrified of y'all, to be honest.
And Oz,
and we take that as a badge of honor.
I know. I mean, I'm sure you guys are still mentally recovering from yesterday. Yes, we saw it. It was funny. I laughed. But yeah,
I was there.
I mean,
I didn't laugh. It was.
I'm sorry, not sorry. Listen, I'm like I said, I'm from Florida. I am actually from Miami. We will have Santeros gathering around the 72 Dolphins graves every time the last team falls. We are going to do it. We will dig up their bones and celebrate with them. Like we are an Asian mountain tribe. We will do that shit.
Can this be live streamed on here? Because I got to be honest, I would watch that.
I mean, there's a lot of dumb Florida shit that there's a lot of dumb Florida shit that if DeSantis actually had a brain would live stream instead of raising our goddamn insurance rates and goddamn electricity.
I know I've shared with you the Blue Oyster Cult song "Florida Man," where there's like six different verses of all the crazy shit people do. Like the guy who called the cops to test his drugs, Yeah.
Someone's got to test the drugs.
There's an entire underground group that does it. They're at every sex convention. In Florida, there's a sex convention. It's awesome. You should go.
That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
I'm 37. I'm not going to a sex convention.
Huh?
I'm 37. I'm not going to a sex convention. I'm tired. I'm in bed by 9 most days.
Me too.
Man, no one go no. And you can be, and they start at 11 a.m. So you can be out. You can be back in bed by 5.
If I have the day off, I am not up by 11.
I'm only up by 11 if I have a reason to be.
Yeah.
And having a porn star sign my titties is always a good reason to be up by 11.
Well, you gotta love yourself.
Because if you don't love yourself, who will?
Right? Porn stars. So, speaking of getting fucked, let's talk specifically about Mastriano and how badly Josh Shapiro destroyed him.
I am having church. He should have known he was going to lose the moment that picture of him in a Confederate uniform leaked. How the fuck you gonna walk around in a goddamn Confederate uniform and be trying to run for the governorship of Pennsylvania?
Well, Pennsylvania at one point had a pretty damn high per capita Klan membership.
That's true. Never mind. I take that back.
So it's not like we were part of the Confederacy, but there are certain parts
you were
of
not
Pennsylvania
tired.
you will find.
In other words, there are parts of the state that were willing to hear them out.
I live in Pike County, which is northeast Pennsylvania. Northeast Pennsylvania.
Not Kentucky, the weird part in the middle.
There's a truck that drives around this town with a Confederate flag on it. And it's not an out-of-state relative. I've seen it all year round. So it's a state of mind. And Pennsylvania has got plenty of it. But the thing is, it don't got enough of it.
Pennsylvania was
filleting the South because they have good food is one thing. These people are eating scrapple and still being racist. How are you going to square that circle? How?
I don't know. They don't have Meemaw's mac and cheese, and so what do you? How
are you eating scrapple and still being racist?
They probably have cans of Vienna sausages, just basically. You should see how much there are of Vienna sausages in the grocery store up there. They have like a whole 2 feet.
I just assume y'all got Vienna sausages.
How many?
I assume y'all got Vienna sausages because y'all got a full actual winter.
Yeah, there's that too. It's snowing now. We're getting 4 inches of snow.
Yeah.
And a week ago it was 70 degrees. So it'll be that.
Yeah.
But
it's not even Thanksgiving. Y'all got no, ma'am, no. And I was going to live in Scranton, and to think I was going to live in Scranton.
It's not that far from here either.
Huh? Why would I do that? Exactly. I told him, I wanted to tell the man that, but he was from Pennsylvania.
Pride. I'm telling you, it leads people to believe there's something special about fucking Scranton.
There's nothing special about it.
So,
I've been there.
With Mastriano, his whole shtick was basically being a big, gigantic anti-Semite who's, and some of the comments his wife made and things like that, which makes it so much better that he lost the job he wanted to Josh Shapiro. Oh, that's delicious.
Only thing more delicious was Kanye Kanye going to sleep at night knowing that Pete Davidson was absolutely fucking the shit out of Kim. Pete Davidson's dad is Jewish, so I mean, technically it counts. It's a technicality.
No, that definitely counts.
It warms my heart. Mastriano's loss. How much he lost warms my heart.
Oh yeah, no, he got shellacked, and I thought that was fucking hilarious.
And it also just goes to show the sheer amount of ticket splitting going on in every state.
Facts.
And what I think that goes to the core of, I think, the three of our identities as people who, I don't know if we evolved or they evolved, but there are quite a lot of people who
ticket splitting is a fucking mistake. I can give you 2 good examples. Right now in Kentucky, yes, they passed a choice law. Daniel Cameron, may he never know a night of peace. He's talking about, we're going to fight this law. This is what you get when you ticket split, people.
Yeah. If you think you're protected by having a ballot referendum and then you do everything you can to elect a supermajority that is opposed to that
said
referendum, you're doing nothing.
Yeah.
You are effectively doing nothing. Thankfully...
Look, I'm really good at doing nothing, but...
Yeah, I mean, you're just emphasizing their point of doing nothing. And more locally close to home, in Orange County, Orlando, they voted in local rent control. But our Hell World legislation passed a law that prevents any city or county in Florida from ever enacting it. So you can vote for rent control all you goddamn want. But those Lovecraftian creatures in Tallahassee ain't gonna let you have it.
God, the joys of federalism.
Facts.
with that in mind, now that we've discussed Florida and now that we've discussed Pennsylvania, the places we live, we really do have to discuss Georgia because we can't avoid talking about it. And the thing that I need to express is how Tucker Carlson can go on TV and call John Fetterman mentally defective when he supports a man like Herschel Walker.
I don't really think listen, I don't really think the Republicans realize that how comfortable they've made themselves with racism by picking a living, walking, absolute fucking stereotype, the most where the white women at, most degenerate, deadbeat, absolute moral cretin that is Herschel Walker. And yes, I said where the white women at. I said what I said. And they're going to look you in the face and say, how dare you vote for Warnock? How can you be a Christian and vote for Warnock?
See, I laughed at what you said, but I laughed more at the fact that I was about to share the link to our show, and it's doing live captioning, and the captioning said, where the white women at?
You gotta love that. Wow. Look, and mind you, I'm big time Philadelphia Eagles fan. Got the banner back here with my Eagles. And as much as I loved Herschel Walker, the football player, the man just if he's not just the walking advertisement for CTE.
Oh my God. Yo. I hope his brain will be donated, if for nothing else, for us to marvel at that he actually managed to pretend to use it.
My issue is, and I think a lot of people fall into this trap, is when I say that Herschel Walker is an idiot, it's not because his speech and the way he speaks. It's because of what he thinks. And I want people who are listening, who are watching, to understand that it has nothing to do with communication. Communication is about ideas. And if you have communicated an idea that someone understands, it doesn't matter how you communicated it, you've communicated it well. Mm-hmm. It's not how he is saying what he is saying. It is what he is saying. And what he is saying is still nonsense when you parse it. It's still nonsense. He is like Trump in that he basically manages to say nothing in 5 minutes. And no amount of folksy stories and the little fairy tales he spins about, the cow on the hill and the fence, and all this stuff. It disguises the fact that he has nothing to say. You can't use a fable or any kind of folktale as a substitute for actual policy.
No.
You actually have to have some ideas. Fetterman has communication issues. But we've, as Pennsylvanians, have seen him over the years. We know he can communicate well. Whether you agree with his ideas or disagree with his ideas, he has ideas. He does have policies. He does have beliefs.
Yeah.
Walker doesn't have beliefs or policies. He has a set of outlines. He's the guy who never did the reading.
He is literally a pair of black plastic gloves for the GOP to sign shit with.
That's kind of really it. All they need is that majority so they can get control of the committees and so they can block any judicial appointments. Thankfully, with the clinching of Catherine Cortez Masto, Georgia has become a little less relevant, but
I would say Georgia is.
Oh, did we lose him?
Give them a minute.
Yeah.
But yes, that's all Herschel Walker is. He is a pair of black plastic gloves, and not even the good kind, the shitty kind that come like 1,000 in a box, and some of them aren't cut properly. That's
I understood you because I was gone.
No, I was saying that, Herschel Walker, he's a pair of black plastic gloves for the GOP, and not even the good not even those good, lovely vinyl nitrile ones, but like the shitty, them shitty ones that come like $2,000 in a box.
Eric, you get this. They're the Clover Valley brand from Dollar General.
Oh,
They're the what?
Dollar General brand.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a pair of black Dollar General gloves for the GOP to slip in when they want something done. And honestly, with the fact that, as far as I'm concerned, the pandemic is still going on. Having Georgia as a blue seat is going to be useful because some dumbass gonna get COVID. Somebody gonna get. Law of averages. Murphy's law says somebody gonna do something stupid, and then you get and then at least there will be a nice cushion.
I've gotten it twice and I'm fine.
I only got it once. I that was traumatic enough for me.
Yeah, I had it once too. That was not pleasant.
It's very unpleasant. But pandemic's over, so. Joe Biden said the pandemic's over, so it's gotta be over, right?
Me and Joseph Robinette gonna have some words about that.
He's and I want people, and again, lest we be accused of being partisans who are, because the accusation is going to come from the three people who watch that. We're basically just born and bred left wingers who never stood a chance of having a love of Republican, and that'll actually lead us into our next subject, I suppose.
I did not spend $30 on this shirt just because I like retro design shit.
We're all elder millennials, and we're all people who grew up and came of age in late 80s and early 90s. Well, 90s for me, but I barely remember the 80s. But
I remember them well.
I remember them moderately well.
We came of age politically pre 9/11, and 9/11 had a huge impact on us.
Well, sure.
And, so I'm going to say, this is my origin story, so to speak, and we'll go around and we'll each tell little tales, and throughout later episodes, we'll, go into more details. But mine is that I was born and raised Republican. And it was with, that was me my whole life. Here's my bona fides or bona fides or however you're supposed to. I voted for George W. Bush. I voted for John McCain. I never cast a ballot for Barack Obama. Being a Republican is something that has been who I am since before I could register to vote. It has been most of my life. It is not something that me saying I can't support Donald Trump and I can't support the party behind him. That is not a partisan left-wing knee-jerk position. That comes with a history of 30 years preceding it. Like I said, I voted for George W. Bush. I'm not a socialist, although I've been called that. I'm not a communist. I've been called that. I am a gun owner. I
think you just brandished your firearm at you, Dallas.
I brandished it at the ceiling fan.
But it's okay. He's allowed to. She's allowed to do that. So,
look, I think what the point I'm trying to get at is I have a very long history, and I don't think I'm the one that changed. I still find it hard to believe where we are at. Hillary Clinton was the first Democrat I ever voted for. And I did not exactly feel good about doing it. I felt pretty lousy doing it.
Yeah.
It was tough. It was a necessary evil because to me, voting in a general election is always damage control.
Yeah.
When you're voting in a primary, you are voting for who you want, who represents you. Mm-hmm. But somebody is going to win that election, and you are either going to put in and try your best to get the least bad and damaging result, because the result's going to be bad and damaging, or you are going to either abstain or go for the worst possible results. One way or another, someone is winning. So that's why I ended up voting for Hillary Clinton in 2016. Not a vote that I really liked. Still not a vote I like. I don't like her. Don't really like Joe Biden. But there's stakes, and I think in a future episode we will discuss what exactly it was about Trump that led us away. Or, and a lot of it was, it's a process. It's not like Trump came along and suddenly
it was automatic. Yeah.
Right. It's a process. There's an awakening. You start to realize that maybe these guys going around saying that, gay people are indoctrinating children are kind of dirtbags.
Or you don't understand what it means to say black. You don't understand what it means to say all lives matter. So in your ignorance, you're going to, Black lives matter. So in your ignorance, you're going to scream all lives matter.
The misunderstanding of that is just so very purposeful. And it's clearly so full of intellectual dishonesty. The deliberate misunderstanding that someone is saying, hey, by the way, this should matter. No, clearly you're saying Black lives are the only thing that matter. Like, no, that's not how English works. So that's kind of
the concept is very silly. Like
well, that's
I couldn't even get all that mad. I just had to just laugh at it. It's like, okay, I'm just kind of going to laugh at your ignorance when someone comes out and says, "Oh, don't say black. All lives matter." No, lives matter.
A big thing for me was
it's not what you're saying, because not all lives are being threatened.
A big thing for me was so Dallas and I have been for a very long time. We've known each other for 20 years.
Jesus.
We met on a political message board just post 9/11, and it was it was conservative board, and I forget where I was going with this, but a lot of the people that we knew through that we've kept in touch with over the years. One of the things for me was the lack of compassion, the lack of empathy, and the lack of ability to see through nonsense that I started noticing from people who were my fellow Republican contemporaries. It's just one of the many things, but a key thing was when Trayvon Martin was murdered. One of Dallas and I's, one of our people we knew, one of the people who was on our side, repeatedly continued to claim that Trayvon was a thug. Endlessly.
What's that?
I was tired. Trayvon was a weird one for me because I was back and forth about it, believe it or not. But it was actually, it was a testimony of Rachel Gentile. That was one of the first cracks where it started to form. I should probably start off and
because I've said my piece, so let's Dallas, let's have you tell your story.
Yeah, go ahead.
Origin story. I'm a first generation American. My parents are from Jamaica. What a lot of people don't understand is that in places like Miami that are minority majority, there is a sense of separation that sometimes happens between Black people who have a multi-generational background in this country and people who immigrate. I would say this to a degree is intentional. Separating Black people who are immigrants to the country versus people who are born and raised creates this kind of creates a really fertile ground for tokenism. You get separated out and told that you are not like them, you are different, you are special. And like a fucking idiot. Well, not really like an idiot. Because there was already a cultural separation, I kind of rolled with it. I had different cultural tastes. I wasn't told that this was normal. I didn't learn history. I didn't know about Sister Rosetta Tharpe. I didn't know about I didn't know about the origins. And the thing is, I have family in Britain, yet I did not know the origins of skinhead music. So think about all of that I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
So, and my mother, she's very religious. We're talking about hardcore Southern Baptist. We're talking about I was not allowed to celebrate Halloween Southern Baptist. I was not allowed to what else was I not allowed? I wasn't allowed to watch the Simpsons Southern Baptist. I never watched my first episode. I watched my first episode of The Simpsons when I was 14.
That secret keeping of history is a big part of what shapes our identities when we're very young.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about my mother confiscated my Beatles tapes. My mother took, when I was in college, that's when I knew it was the final straw. She took a copy of Dracula, the very first book I bought from the campus library with my own money. She took my copy of Dracula. I do not know where it is. She swears she didn't take it, but I know she did. So I had that kind of upbringing. So I felt very much into that Southern Baptist church. I was on the track to be one of those over-permed, pumpkin spice latte sipping, picture of the Starbucks and the Bible in my Instagram girls. That was my life. That was supposed to have been my life path.
Mm-hmm.
But series of fortunate events. I kind of had a nervous breakdown toward my end of my tenure in college. Ended up being an exotic dancer. And it was kind of through that I kind of fell into kind of, I guess, society's underground. I was into BDSM, and I got to know a lot of different kinds of people. And I actually began to learn, as Ren talked about earlier, that lack of empathy. That empathy started flowering up. I started to learn to listen to a lot of different perspectives. But my first feeling of, I don't have to follow this path. It was actually a trans woman. So it was like I got to know people who were outside of my path, and starting to accept it. For me, the first plank that fell for me was getting to know non-traditional pro-life people. They exist. Now I'm in flux on that issue, and I lean more towards giving. I obviously am very strongly towards giving women choice, because here's the thing. It was from they probably don't know that they did this. Speaking and talking with non-conventional pro-lifers led me to learn about things like maternal mortality rates. Oh, I'm hearing dogs. Sorry,
I have dogs. One of them is right here.
Puppy.
They have to go out once in a while, so sorry. I actually don't know how to mute my... Oh, there's a mute button.
Yeah, I was going to say.
This is new for me. I'm going to hit the mute button right now.
No, I got to hear about things like the maternal mortality rate and the divide between I'm gonna pause some more. Yeah, because my story is probably convoluted and probably requires a chart. Because then there's
I was going to put one up here on my wall, and
I was going to, because I gotta go. Because I gotta go back and talk about Michelle Obama. Oh yeah, no, Michelle Obama 100% falls into why I left the right. Because I'll tell you one thing, a lot of men on the right, as a substitute for their person, they have misogynoir, which is the fancy portmanteau word for hatred of Black women. They have that as a lot of men on the right, they have that as a personality trait. They don't have a personality, so they just go with misogynoir. Or misogyny. I find that happens to be very, very common. I'm holding out hope. Okay. All right. So as I was saying, this is where two different things converge, because right around this time is when the Obamas were in office, and I began to see the ugly side of the right. I have never seen a first lady get so fucking dehumanized, defeminized as Michelle Obama. That was eye-opening. That was like a kick between the eyes. The moment it hit me, the moment I start to disagree with these men, that's how they're going to see me.
Yeah.
That's how they're going to see me. And to see how they talked about her, a human being, someone that I see, I who looks like people I see all the time. It was like, who are you? Who are you? And seeing, I think it was seeing white people on the right as who they actually are is what was one of the biggest dominoes to fall. Knowing that I had to rely on 4 centuries of acquired genetic knowledge to navigate these people. And to realize that these people are not actually my friends. I am not a friend to them. I am a project. I am an experiment. I am a thing, an accessory, a shield. And then Philando Castile happened, and that really was, and watching the NRA not say a goddamn thing was also pretty cool too. Yeah, that was great.
You know, you mentioned. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So it was like seeing empathy for people who had to make the hard decision of choosing to abort a pregnancy, seeing white men for who they really are on the right, seeing white women for who they actually are, and then seeing them absolutely seeing your perfect victim, your Philando Castile, who is trying to do all the right things, and the NRA is like, who? We don't know him. And so by the time Trump came around, I was more than skeptical.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, well, Trump might shake things up, and this might, he'll force the left to really examine themselves, and then it just turned into fuck shit.
Nobody examines themselves.
I learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
I'd say, I think I'd like to believe we are the type of people who do examine ourselves. But I when I say nobody, I don't mean literally nobody. But I mean, as far as political ideologies go, people are malleable for sure.
Yeah.
But self-reflection is not something that is just generally done when it comes to walking away from an ideology. And so even when something comes to, like you said, shake something up, I don't think that Trump ever had a chance of, quote, shaking the left up simply because causing self-reflection on the left, because I think there's a lot of people on the left who saw him as an aberration, and then there's a lot of people on the left who saw him as a culmination.
Yeah.
And either way, I don't think there was anybody who's on the left who thought maybe he's got a point.
Right. And to me, it ironically came down to when I heard Michael Moore say the reason why he felt Trump was going to win the presidential election in 2016 was because a vote for Trump was an FU to the establishment politics that, like, a lot of people felt failed them. And that's when I thought, I'm like,
yeah,
shit, he might actually win this.
Yeah, I think it was the fact that people were sick of the patrician wing of the Republican Party, which was the wing of the Republican Party that, when I break down what I thought of myself, that was the wing I was thinking I that was the wing that I aspired to. That was the wing that was offered to us, that patrician New England wing. Yeah, that's what I thought I was that's what I thought I was getting.
I mean, Trump came about basically because of politics as the way they were. And he didn't really change anything so much as accelerate and enable more of what was already there.
Yeah.
And so the self-reflection from the left didn't come from, wow, or I should say the left as in the center left of the Democratic Party, who were the establishment Democrats. They didn't think, gee, maybe we had a hand in causing some of this alienation. That was never going to happen.
No.
And so a lot of people who were, when I say, nobody on the left was convinced by Trump, I misspoke, because I didn't mean to say that there were plenty of people who voted for Obama and then voted for Trump. I think what I was trying to get across was that of the establishment, there weren't going to be people who took a hard look at themselves and realized, maybe I should change. And that's where people who I thought knew better.
Oh God, yeah. Woo! Woo! As someone who grew up in that Southern Baptist, Christian conservative, Christian coalition mold, woo! Like, watching them fall like dominoes after this guy was actually a source of terror for me.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it was a source of freedom. It was a source of terror watching them do this and me going, I know you're wrong. And I can tell you why you're wrong. But at the same time, I mean, it means, and I actually don't have to listen to you.
That's liberating.
It's the moment where my mom can shove a James Dobson book at me if she wants to. And I'm going to be like, that motherfucker voted for Trump. You can take that back. This is a man who yelled about Clinton and now he's going to embrace Trump. At least Clinton went with, at least for the most part, Clinton went with consensual partners over the age of 18. I'm going to take
I'm glad for the most part. Got it. Snuck its way in there.
Yeah, I actually feel sorry for Juanita Boderick. I do think that he did assault her. I just think that she's been so mentally broken by the whole thing that she does not care. She just wants to hurt him so that her own hurt can go away.
What drives me nuts is that, the people who are correct that, Bill Clinton's not a good person so easily went into Trump, who is, and I should say, I'm an attorney. I know about defamation. Yeah. I understand about defamation, but by all that is it, I am certain that Trump is a rapist. So I don't, look at everything that is out there. I'm not saying that he could be convicted of rape.
Yeah, there may not even be anything actionable, but
I am saying that I would bet money that he has raped people.
I would sacrifice my eye teeth and a month's worth of metformin on that.
And the evangelicals and the people who were so horribly against Clinton for such moral reasons lined up behind Trump because he's an imperfect vessel.
On their knees like a bunch of porn stars at a gangbang. I said what I said. They were give us more.
I have to put another check mark under the porn star mentions chart.
Like I said, they were all yes, daddy.
Do we have to take a drink every time we mention porn stars?
I hope not.
After the show. So, Eric, how about your story, your background?
Well, mine's nothing. To be fair, I'm still actually a registered Republican. And I believe in some of the ideas of, well, at least what I was raised on to recognize as Republican, in the small government, low taxes, like that is what I was taught was the party. And I thought, it's like, look, man, the only thing I want my government to do is educate my children, pave my roads, protect my borders. And what are the three things you guys really suck at? Educating my children, paving my roads, and protecting my borders.
We from Pennsylvania know how bad they are at paving our roads.
Oh God.
It is like whack-a-mole out here trying to move around the roads to avoid potholes. And so like that is generally why I'm a center right leaning Republican, in the sense that like I think the government as a whole sucks. And I don't think they're any good at anything they do. And so that's why I just don't want them involved in anything. Like just take your suckiness somewhere else. Go screw something else up. Like, don't bring that shit in here.
Over many episodes, we're going to have a conversation about how much the private sector sucks too. But
God,
look, it all sucks.
I'm just kidding.
But and not in the fun way.
Another porn star mention.
Yeah, I had to get my mentions up. I haven't done my but yeah, like for me, like I never like I was never as hardcore as some others in the anti-Trump band. Like I didn't like him. Like he sucked. I knew. Like I liked the idea of an outsider running for the office. Like I thought that was a good idea. Someone who would see the office as a business and run it in that kind of way. I thought was a good idea. Just didn't like the one that was doing it. And obviously, I couldn't vote for Oz in this, but like he's just Trump light to me. Like, like and I didn't like I didn't like regular Trump. I'm not certainly not gonna like Trump light. And so like, but then if you mention any kind of disagreement in the party, like it's like, oh wait, what are you? You're a Democrat now? I'm like, and people who I've known for so many years who knew how I felt about, the way I feel about the government, and knowing that is why I tend to lean Republican. Like, and they're still like, well, if you don't back Trump, he's got the nomination. I'm like, well, that doesn't mean I like him. Like, I mean, I had told everybody that would listen, if it's Hillary Clinton and anybody but Trump in the Republican nomination, I'd vote the Republican. If it was Donald Trump and anybody but Hillary Clinton, I will vote the Democrat. And if it's Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, God damn it, I may just not vote. And people know that that's a big deal for me to say that.
I actually, when it came time, because at the time, Miami-Dade County was blue. Mm-hmm. At the time, I felt I had the luxury. I was like, okay, I don't really have the luxury of principles, but I'm going to act like I got the luxury of principles. I wrote in. I hate myself for doing that now, believe it or not, but I wrote in. Because I was like, well, I am under the cover of the protection of being from a blue county. If
I may test my memory, it was Evan McMullen, right? Yes!
Yeah, I was like, I refused. I was like,
didn't have a chance against Mike Lee in Utah, but it would have been nice to have a non-Trump Republican.
Yeah, it would have been like a cool
anti-Trump Republican.
It would have been a cool experiment to see what would happen. Like, is he going to have to beat Josh Hawley's ass in the hallway? What is he going to do?
I believe that Evan McMullen would beat.
Can they put that on paper?
Oh, I 300% Evan McMullen would have beaten the shit out of Josh Hawley.
He is a CIA man. He knows how to use some piano wire to choke him.
Exactly. It would have been amazing. It would have been amazing. We would have. I feel shitty that Utah deprived us of this. They deprived us of a chance to see Josh Hawley run one more time.
And why couldn't we have gotten that like on Fight Network or something like that?
Exactly. I work for a fucking casino. We could have made this happen. We could have had something.
Damn it.
I'm serious.
That would have certainly gotten my DraftKings mentions up in there. Man.
I mean, I will not. I can't acknowledge the presence of DraftKings, but I mean, honestly, it would have at least. I have a feeling there would have probably been some. We would have been able to pay down a chunk of the national debt with it.
You want to talk about how much DraftKings sucks, though? I was just hearing advertisements. Oh, this isn't about DraftKings, but something even worse. I heard advertisements of what if you could buy stock in athletes. Like this program.
Okay, did we already outlaw this?
We are not doing this again.
Okay, so you both basically got what my problem was immediately.
I feel like there's already a law against that.
I feel like that now people would do this just so they could call them the N-word in the DMs.
Where basically everybody wants to be Calvin Candy. Who gets that out?
Yes. I hate to break it to y'all. Some of y'all need to go to therapy for your Calvin Candy issues. I swear, instead of going to therapy, white men will do a lot of dumb shit. Like buy Twitter. Apartheid fly out here.
$1 billion laying around, I'd probably buy Twitter instead of going to see a therapist. But
I mean, if I had $11 billion, I would buy Twitter for $11 billion. But I wouldn't.
Yeah, I would not have bought it for the $44 billion and like $44 billion and a keychain that he got. I don't understand. And I mean, and then he shows up with a sink, and I'm like, the moment he showed up with that motherfucking sink, I'm like, y'all. But I hope y'all working on your resumes, honestly, because it's just gonna go to hell from here. And what did it do? It went to hell. Like, people are getting fired at Twitter just for discussing him in the Slack. This is why I wish I could get into other companies' Slack. That's why I wish I could have gotten into Twitter Slack. I know each Slack is like a walled garden, and you can't do that. But oh my God, the way I would get into that Slack and just Slack all day about hashtag apartheid Clyde, moment they come looking for me. Oh, she don't even work here.
What's amazing to me is we don't know. There's something very much like the Trump presidency about Elon Musk running Twitter, in that we just don't fucking know what's going to happen 20 minutes from now. It's the same. It's breaking news syndrome. You open your phone, breaking news, Twitter. What now?
Basically, Elon Musk got in there based on. Listen, this whole thing just simply happened because Elon Musk couldn't handle the fact that his girlfriend left him for a trans woman.
Grimes in general is
she's not I wouldn't call her a catch, but here we are.
Grimes is just someone, I think that if there's anybody that Elon Musk deserves and anybody that Grimes deserves, two of them.
Oh God, the idea that they deserve each other. Let's not inflect the rest of the
come on, don't fight.
No. It's the Pina Colada song. It's the story of two assholes who deserve each other so much.
You made me lose my piercing. That was great. Found it again. Still funny.
So now that we've gone over our origins, we'll continue to talk about it. I do want to say one more thing, and to Eric, it's something that you said about people who've known you your whole life. I remember a mutual friend of ours that we know for a very long time. When I started going off about Trump, and this person called me a socialist and told me I was getting money from George Soros. And I'm like, you know me. You know me.
Hold on. You got money from George Soros and you didn't share any of it with me?
Exactly. Bitch, I ain't get shit.
But I think that's basically it. The sort of, there is this intense pushback from this cult of personality around Trump and around certain aspects of the ideology too. It's not just Trump. No, it's not. If you ask for people to have compassion or empathy towards others, you are seen as having a woke mind disease. Whoever, I can't remember put it that way, but yeah.
Woke is just the N word for people who don't want to be canceled.
So I think there's this big part of it. Part of the issue with my identity is I am still ideologically very much similar to who I was before. I'm not a socialist. I'm not a communist. And, my beliefs align within a very centrist, portion of it, but align within capitalism, capitalism that has a robust safety net and safeguards and things like unions and, laws and regulations that prevent people from falling into vats of molten whatever, like just happened the other day at Caterpillar.
I heard about that.
And stuff like that happen. Or, because, Trump had this whole anti-regulation thing, and it was just anti-regulation for the sake of it. It's just like, no, we need those. We had people dying of preventable shit that was happening because we didn't prepare or store pork properly, or we were adding arsenic to milk, like 80 years ago and shit. Yeah. I don't know if it was arsenic specific, but it was something that was literal poison that we were putting in milk to make it look more white, basically. I have to read it again. Mark Kurlansky's book, Milk. It's a great book, and I've forgotten more about it than I've actually taken in.
It's like goddamn old age.
But it's just, there's a lot of ideology for the sake of it that I'm so very much against. And, the deregulation, because all regulations are bad, it's that sort of small government for its own sake. I'm like, no, there are aspects of the government that need not be small, that should probably not be small at all.
Yeah.
Regulations are how we have things like, the regulations and laws and things preventing capitalism from being child labor, 12-hour workdays, 6 days a week, and you have to buy everything from the company store with your, pennies a week wage.
Yeah.
That's where I fall. But because I believe in shit like unionization and maybe that businesses shouldn't have their taxes cut so low that trillions are added to the deficit, and
just to accommodate and keep their dumb asses happy.
And you have people in Walmart who make so little money that they are on public assistance despite working full-time jobs. Because I'm like, that, man, companies shouldn't be allowed to do that. I'm a socialist. So it's really, I think we're going to spend a lot of time talking about stuff like that. Mostly what our show is going to be is, news shows. We're going to talk about very specific news stories, give our perspective on it from our perspective of who we are and where we've come from. This was an introductory episode. We got to give the broad strokes of who we were and where we came from, and also talk about the midterms that just happened. And I think for a first episode that we threw together in less than a week, I think we did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Going down.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
So, is there any last, before we go, or any last observations you have, Eric? So, what about you, Dallas?
I'm thinking maybe the fuck up in Poland might be the very thing that might force and that might force the beginnings of some peace talks, hopefully.
Let's hope.
I hope so too. It sounds like Russia's, just an actual fuck up because Russia's military is scraping the bottom of the barrel at this point.
It's a paper military, fam.
Yeah, it is.
And
it's a paper military.
And my last observation for the day is that Democrats actually managed to flip 3 state houses in this midterm election, and it's not really talked about in the main headlines much, but Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Minnesota all flipped from Republican control to Democrat control. That's pretty huge, especially with the sheer amount of partisan and racial gerrymandering.
All the noise. I'm still shocked at the fact that that Texas is so gerrymandered to hell and beaten down that they kept that fucking idiot Abbott.
I think it's just a matter of that Beto. Look, I know there are people who like him. I don't get it.
I don't know if I have any room to talk because I was supporting Pete Buttigieg in the primary, so I don't know. I don't think I have any room to talk.
Pete Buttigieg. Now we're gonna get going here. That's my dude. Pete
I
Buttigieg.
love Pete.
I want to see him on a freaking presidential ticket someday.
I love Pete. Pete is amazing, and Pete.
Oh, you got me fired up. That is
Pete,
my dude. I will
husband,
volunteer for his
little munchkins. Yeah, I'm here for some Peter Paul Montgomery. Miss Pete when Miss Pete gets on it and becomes Slayer Pete.
Let's go.
That's spicy.
Go.
That's spicy. She can be spicy.
So can we say Pete 2024?
Hell yeah.
I'd like to
yes,
see.
Please.
I'd like to see Pete vice president. President doesn't matter.
Yeah, as long as you weren't going to say Joe 2024, I can't.
It depends on.
Look, if Joe runs against DeSantis or Trump, I will vote Joe again. But
yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not
112 then, right?
You do not want DeSantis as president. Speaking as a resident of Hell World, you don't.
I don't want him to run my local McDonald's, let alone my country.
No, I'd let him run my local McDonald's. I think that would be fine. He's in the Navy. He knows how to mop a floor. So, I mean...
Will he know to delegate that role?
Huh?
Will he know how to delegate that role?
I think he will. I trust him mopping floors, getting the fries. I trust him.
I don't know that he'd know how to work the fryer. I think that would be too complex.
No, he went to Yale. He should know that. He should know how to do that. Now, if we're talking a Burger King or a Chipotle, that's too complicated for DeSantis.
Well, yeah, at least I don't have to worry about him fixing the ice cream machine because it's never working at McDonald's.
Exactly. He ain't gonna fix the ice cream machine. But when has the ice cream machine ever worked at McDonald's?
Oh my gosh!
I saw an ice cream machine work at McDonald's was 2002.
Yeah, they got it in, and it was 3 days later. It was kaput and never to be seen again.
I think with that, we're about ready to wrap it up. I do have one last breaking news. Henry Kissinger somehow still alive. Good night, everybody.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with a surprise